Hi, Rob Lukey with ShopProp Realty. I'm going to take a second to point out a few properties that went under contract, both on the listing side and on the buy side this week, to kind of showcase what the market is currently looking like in average, but specific to particular properties. So, for example, in Santa Clara, this is a listing that we have listed for 1.675. We've already received a full price offer on the property, and that was within 1 week of listing. Now, how does that compare to other listings that are in that same area? This is a 2,100 square foot lot size, and it's a 1,543 square foot home and selling at 1.7 million approximately. So how did that relate to properties that just sold? Where's a 1,700 square foot house, 6-bedroom, that sold for 1.7? Here's another property that was a 6-bedroom, 1,700 square foot house that sold for 1.4. Here's another one. So you can see from that standpoint, our listing got a better price. Now, like I've said before, that doesn't mean that we're doing something magical. It means generally the market is spiking. As I've said before, agent after agent, when you look at mass data, not one person is getting a better price. And that's because home buyers and sellers, most of them are getting smarter and understand that data is available. Our client listed this property and chose ShopProp Full, even though you can do ShopProp free, but they chose ShopProp Full and they're paying us $2,995 to list, market, and provide full service to them. Think about that in comparison to other firms that are where people are paying 2.5%, 2%, even 1.5% on that is way extreme in my opinion. Up to you. Obviously, you can pay whatever you want. Now, how did that relate to, here's that one of the properties, like I said, that recently sold for 1.66, which was much bigger property, right? And it was 1,762 square feet. Now, let's look at that in relationship to the peak of the market. These are properties that sold during the peak in 2022. So I did a search from right around February 1st into April 30th of 2022, which was basically the peak. And what you'll see here is here's a property that was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, sold for 1.78 million. And you can see that this property, 1,166 square feet, 5,300 square foot lot size. Again, when you look at that in relationship to some recent sales that just occurred in that same area in Santa Clara, you can see for the most part, we're still a bit below the high, somewhere between 5 and 8% below the high that we set in 2022. Now, how does that relate in Washington? Here's another listing. Again, this person chose ShopProp Full. They're only paying ShopProp $2,995. And we went under contract last night on this property, very close to the list price. And I want you to take a look at this. This is a 3-bedroom property, only 2,500 square foot. And let's look at how that listing did in comparison to other properties that recently sold. Well, here's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,960 square foot house that just sold for $1.4 million. So again, our listing did very well in comparison to this particular property. Now, how did that relate to, for example, what things were selling for during the peak? During the peak, when you look at this, again, this is properties that sold at the peak in the 2022 peak so far. Here's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath that sold for 1.55 million. So it gives you an idea, and it's right on a road. So obviously, here's another 5-bedroom, 2-bath, and this property, it was only 2,500 square feet, and it sold for 1.589, 5 bedrooms. So if you reduce for that extra 2 bedrooms, you would still get around 1.5, 1.475. So you can see, again, the market's a little bit off from where the peak was. I think, obviously, we'll get through that short-term peak eventually, but this is kind of where the state of the market is. And it's more of a balanced market. Did want to point out one other thing. Here's a client that I mentioned this particular property and what they paid as far as in commission. Remember, buyers are also, home sellers are becoming buyers. So this is another property that went under contract, And this is a $2 million property, beautiful property that sold. And this particular client is getting back over $40,000 in commission. This particular person was offering 2.5% commission. And so they're getting an enormous rebate back. So I want you to think about in that from a relationship on savings. If you're listing a property and you're paying out, even if you're still paying a buyer's agent commission of 2.5%, let's say on $1 million home, that's $25,000 in commission plus ShopProp's fee. Even if you went with ShopProp full, that's $28,000. Let's say you were buying a $2 million home that where you got a $50,000, so 2.5% times which the seller was offering, times that $2 million is $50,000 in commissions. So even if you were paying out that $25,000 commission plus $3,000 to ShopProp, that's $28,000 minus the $50,000 minus the ShopProp's fee. Again, if you were doing full service, that's still $47,000, $45,000 in commissions. You're actually making money selling your current home and buying a new home. I hope everybody could follow that math because I think it's significant when it comes to savings for home buyers and sellers. Remember, our mission is to zero commission home buying and selling. Again, people can pay whatever they want, but with the technology that we have currently in the market that gives all the data, really it's not necessary for people to pay that commission. We have technology with our home buyer and seller dashboards. It makes it too easy to buy and sell a property. I mean, it just is a simple process of buying and selling. You can go through, obviously, we have all the education. You have all the tools necessary on the site to go through the transaction yourself if you wanted to. All the documents in one place, next steps, home buyer guides, seller guides. Again, we're going to hit this mission. We hope you join us. Thank you.